Get ready for a ride, friends, because this episode is juicy. If you're a parent whose school has a nut and peanut allergy ban and you don't think you need to meet your teacher at school because of that policy, listen up. If you're a parent managing other allergies, you are going to learn a lot as well, so stick with me. I'm sharing experiences we've had with nut bans throughout all our years in elementary school and junior high, as well as some surprising evidence-based studies that might just turn what you think about nut bans upside down. So if your school is a nut ban or you wish you could ban your child's allergen at your school, this episode is for you. Let's get to it. Hey food allergy mama, if you're here, you've likely experienced the scary and lonely food allergy diagnosis with your child. Unfortunately, food allergy parents aren't taught how to navigate the food allergy lifestyle, and it's easy to feel alone and discouraged sometimes. But I'm here to show you that food allergy life doesn't have to feel restrictive, scary, or isolated. I'm Corinna, and I'm a 17-year food allergy mom and food allergy coach at Friendly Pantry Consulting. I specialize in making food allergy life safer and less worrisome for food allergy families like yours. I'm not perfect, but over 17 years, I've learned a lot the hard way, and I'm sharing the secrets and resources you won't hear anywhere else that will help you feel confident living with food allergies faster and easier than I did. From introducing allergens, travel, navigating school, and educating friends and family, this podcast will give you the essential tips and strategies you need to help your food allergy child and family thrive. Welcome to the show. What I'm sharing today is a little surprising, actually a lot surprising, and I'm not going to lie, it even feels a bit frustrating too. But I want to do this to help all of you, so I need to share what I know and what I've learned. Listen to the end because there's so many important things to know here, and I don't want you to miss anything. You're going to hear our experiences with the nut ban, and I'm also going to dig deep into research and share a few trusted evidence-based documents and studies. To start off, I just want to clarify that I'm going to be talking about peanut bans and nut bans interchangeably. I realize they're different allergies, but in this case, I'm just going to use it as nut bans. And now that we have that clear, let's start with our experiences. I hate to break it to you, but even with peanut and nut bans, there are always nuts at school. We had a peanut and nut-free school all through elementary and junior high, and even though many did try to follow the ban, there was always nuts around. So this is including things like Nutella, PB&J, trail mix, and when Halloween came around, peanuts and every kind of nuts were all over the place. Now, don't get me wrong, teachers definitely tried to stop this, and they always mentioned it to the kids. You're not allowed to bring that. They also sent lots of emails out. So for the most part, it was being followed up with and watched. So essentially, in the beginning, even though there were nuts present, all the other policies of the school act as if the nut ban meant that there were no nuts in place. So they didn't have other policies that helped make sure that kids were safe. For example, things like they didn't tell substitute teachers about students with food allergies or where the EpiPen was, or they didn't take precautions like asking kids to wash their hands or wipe their hands and face after eating to remove traces of the nuts on hands. And they didn't do enough training so that teachers really understood how to keep food allergy kids safe and included. Now, of course, that all changed as I started talking to them, but in the beginning, that's what was happening with the nut ban. It was kind of creating a false sense of security because teachers feel like they're covered by the ban and they don't need to worry about all those other really important food allergy safety steps. But I just want to clarify here, this is not because teachers and staff are trying to be complacent. They just don't know what they don't know because they haven't been educated well. The bottom line is that there are essential things that need to happen even if there are allergen bans, and unfortunately there isn't enough food allergy awareness in schools right now. So that's what I've seen and heard from not only my experience but also from other food allergy mamas' experiences who I've mentored or talked to. But in this podcast and in all my work, I like to take an evidence-based approach. I think it's important to see what the evidence-based studies show about nuts and peanuts at school. So let's take a look at that. The first thing I found was a really interesting document that I found in PubMed Central, and it was a debate by 4 allergists, 2 for each side, that was about whether peanuts should be allowed in schools. And I really liked this article because it gave both sides of the argument and used evidence-based journal articles to back up their positions. I'm going to post a link to that in the show notes so you can check it out. I would highly recommend looking at both sides of the story and see what you think after you read it. And I also want to talk about another study that was done a few years ago. And in this study, they looked at how many times epinephrine was used in schools in Massachusetts with peanut bans and how many times epinephrine was used in schools without peanut bans. The final result actually showed that epinephrine use in schools did not decrease when there was a nut ban. It did, however, show that schools with peanut-free tables had a lower amount of epinephrine use, but even those schools weren't reaction-free. So I don't think that this study can be used as the be-all and end-all because there could be many reasons for why epinephrine use didn't decrease. And one of my theories is that nut ban created a false sense of security, just like I mentioned before. But the study didn't actually go into any of the reasons. And in fact, the study said that they need to have more studies done before decisions can be made about school policies. So it's just something to kind of think about, but it's not something that's definitive, and that's what they're saying. So let's go to another evidence-based document, and this is one of the most recent documents because it came out in 2023, and this is the Anaphylaxis Practice Parameter Update, and it does mention banning allergens at school. I've talked about this Anaphylaxis Practice Parameter in previous episodes, but it's a very detailed document that takes into account many studies. It goes through a rigorous review process with a whole group of doctors, and it talks about a lot of topics. It actually only touches on food allergies at school a little bit, but overall, this document recommends that schools do not implement site-wide food-specific prohibition because current research does not support consistent benefits. And there is a caveat to this. It says that when there are children who are too young to self-manage, it might be appropriate to have allergen-restricted zones, like milk-free tables. And that's kind of what the other one talked about as well. Now, the debate about the milk-free or the allergen-free, peanut, nut-free tables is another one because even though it helps keeps our kids safe, it can be very isolating, and they need to be done thoughtfully so that kids are not left out or feeling different from their peers. And that's really important too. So there's a whole debate about that. I don't really want to get into it this time, but we may do that in another episode. But let's look at what we can take from all of this about the full allergen bans. First, there are good reasons for and against allergen bans, and overall, I feel like there's still really good idea for young kids, even if it's just an allergen ban in the classroom. But here's the thing. If there's anything I want you to get from this episode, it is that whether there's a peanut ban, a nut ban, or any allergen ban or not, we need to do more. We cannot fully rely on the bans to keep our child safe. And of course, they also do nothing for inclusion either. So what can you do about it? First, education of your teacher and school is a must. They need to know what steps to take to fully keep your child safe so they're not relying on a band-aid solution. Because the bottom line is that a nut or allergen ban isn't going to work alone to keep kids with food allergies safe. The only way to do this right now is for parents to educate the school. Yes, there are some schools that are doing a great job at this, but most are not, and that's still up to the parent to educate the school. It's important to understand how much your teacher and your school know about food allergies so they aren't leaning on that ban as a crutch. And there needs to be proven strategies and accommodations in place, like washing surfaces and hands after lunch, and adequate training for teachers and substitute teachers and volunteers and support staff. There are other nitty-gritty things to consider too. So here's the thing. If you have relied on your school nut ban for your child's safety in the past, or you thought it might be okay just for this year, I want you to know that it's okay. It's easy to feel secure because of a nut ban. But after what you learned today, I hope that you'll make this the safest year yet by educating your teacher and your school so you and your child can be fully confident they'll be safe. If you're not exactly sure what to say, or you don't want to spend hours researching what you need to talk about with your teacher in school, grab the School Allergy Plan template and School Success Pack upgrade. I've created this plan with 14 years of experience and over 100 hours hours of trusted research, and it's available to you right away. You'll get a thorough list of food allergy accommodations and a comprehensive list of strategies that need to happen at school to keep your allergy kids safe. You do not have to do this alone. I'll post the link for that school allergy template in the show notes. Did you find this episode helpful? If so, please pass it on to another food allergy family who might be interested. Thanks for listening, and bye for now. Before you go, Mama, if you love this episode and want deeper support, head over to friendlypantry.com to see how we can partner together to keep your food allergy child safer and worry less. There's no need for wasting time searching all over Instagram, TikTok, and the web to get the practical knowledge you need for your family. While you're there, grab your free Food Allergy Kids Empowerment Guide or the newly diagnosed checklist today. Topics are not medical advice and are the opinions, views, and property of Friendly Pantry Consulting Incorporated. All rights reserved. Always contact your board-certified allergist immunologist for health advice.